very good evening to you and welcome to Hope TV Newswatch on this 24th day of October 2022. My name is Kennedy Kimani and assisting with the sign language interpretation tonight is our very own Boniface Muredi. Now, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, now says it continues to face non-cooperation from members of the National Police Service, which in turn is undermining its independence and its work. Addressing the press from their headquarters in Nairobi, IPOA chairperson Anne Makori claimed that the National Police Service has not come out clearly in the past in regards to formation of units such as the Special Service Unit, which has since been disbanded. The authority has, however, affirmed its commitment to continue investigating extrajudicial killings and enforce disappearances. Our very own Grace Ongoi begins our bulletin with the following story.
For fielding all the questions, engaging with us.
After what it says is years of non-cooperation from the police service that has undermined its operations, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, is hopeful that it will experience more cooperation from the National Police Service, NPS, under President William Ruto's administration.
IPOA also continues to face challenges of non-cooperation by some members of NPS. In view of this, the authority wishes to affirm that it will invoke the provisions of Section 31 of the IPOA Act.
Led by Chairperson Anne Makori, the Police Activities Investigative Body has questioned the formation of units like the DCI Special Service Unit, SSU, which they say until now little was known about the reason for its formation and its members.
In the manner of formation, there is no established procedure. And that is why they appear secretive. You know, you'll hear of a unit, but you don't know what that unit has been formed for. For instance, now you know the anti-terror unit. That's an establishment that is known by Kenyans. You know, the tourism one. You know, there are those that are properly established, but there are those others that have been formed whose places are known, and the only people who can expose them is the authority.
Now, the formations within NPS are actually the Inspector General's duty to create from time to time to carry out its functions. Now, what the Inspector General is obligated by law to do to enable us carry out meaningful oversight and ensure professionalism in execution of their duties, he is supposed to share with us immediately such formations have been made, to make them known to us and probably even engage the public.
According to IPOA board member John Waiganjo, investigations into the unit should not have been conducted by the Internal Affairs Unit, but rather by IPOA, which will be more impartial in its investigations.
What concerns us mainly is that the IAU, Internal Affairs Unit of the National Police Service, have taken over those investigations, and those investigations are squarely or should be squarely with the authority, because the police, as you know, cannot effectively investigate themselves. So we are also asking that this authority be left to carry out its mandate without interference from the National Police Service. The chair has mentioned, and I want to emphasize, the authority has met serious challenges of non-cooperation from the members of the National Police Service.
The unit was disbanded by President William Ruto over alleged incidents of enforced disappearances and murder. 4 of the 21 DCI SSU members on Monday were arraigned before Kahawa Law Courts in Nairobi over alleged involvement in the disappearance of 2 Indians, Mohammed Said Sami, Zalfika Ahmed, and the taxi driver Nicodemus Monia in July 2022. Where Chief Magistrate Diana Mochache said she will deliver a ruling on Wednesday, 26 October 2022. The authority also commented on the matter of ongoing investigations of 25 dead bodies that were recovered from River Yala and 13 bodies that were recovered in River Tana, saying investigations are still ongoing. IPOA, however, expressed concerns that the investigations are being slowed down due to the undercover nature in which they conduct the investigations.
Apparently, we also carry our investigations in an camouflaged way. We do not expose what we are doing to the media. You also understand our officers also need protection because we are dealing with the police. So investigating the police is not a walk in the park. So we try to also cover our investigators. So the fact that we hardly talk about it doesn't mean we don't investigate it.
Grace Ongoi, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that report. Now, President William Ruto and Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif have held a conversation on phone over the murder of journalist Arshad Sharif. The senior investigative journalist was shot dead on Sunday night along the Nairobi-Magadi highway in what police termed as a mistaken identity. As Tess Njenga now reports, Pakistan Prime Minister has requested President Ruto to ensure transparent investigation into Arshad's killing.
Renowned Pakistani journalist Arshad Sharif was killed by police on Sunday night in a case of mistaken identity. A statement by police has revealed that Sharif was being driven by his brother Khurram Ahmed when they breached a police roadblock along the Kiserian-Magadi road, prompting the police to open fire where Sharif was shot in the head. The police report showed that there had been a call for police to intercept a car similar to the one they were driving following a carjacking incident in Pangani area, Nairobi, where a child was allegedly kidnapped by unknown people. President William Ruto held a telephone call with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif over the murder, where the president promised a fair and transparent investigation over the shocking murder. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said President Ruto has promised full support and to fast-track the return of the body to Pakistan. In a press briefing, the Independent Police Oversight Authority IPOA says it has launched an investigation into the killing of the Pakistani journalist.
There is a alleged police killing of a Pakistani national at Tinga Market, Kajiado County last evening. Our rapid response team has already been dispatched to look at that matter. The name of that Pakistani national is Arshad Mohammed Sharif, aged 50, who incident happened on 23/10/2022 at 22 hours.
At the same time, Kenyan investigative journalist John Alanamu has dismissed claims that he was working with slain Pakistani journalist Arshad Sharif, and confirmed reports had emerged that Sharif was in Kenya to film a major global corruption expose together with the Kenyan award-winning journalist. Alanamu on Twitter sent his condolences to Sharif's wife and family, adding that no journalist should ever have to pay such a price for his work. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thanks, Tess, for that report. Now, Tana River County Commissioner Thomas Sankei has today flagged off relief food for drought-stricken families. More than 100,000 people are in dire need of food following a prolonged drought. The county commissioner says they have received 2,000 bags of rice and 800 bags of beans, all packaged in 50 kilograms bags to be distributed to Tana River, Tana Delta, Galedetu, Bura, and Bangale sub-counties. Dolly Murigi with more on the story.
More than 100,000 families are in dire need of food in Tana River County due to the ongoing drought being experienced in some part of the country. Last week, during the Mashujaa Day celebrations, President William Ruto said that the government is concerned about climate change and its impact on Kenya, especially in the arid and semi-arid areas. Tana River County Commissioner Thomas Sankei said that the region received 2,000 bags of rice and 800 bags of beans, which were packed in 50 kg bags. The food will be distributed in all 5 sub-counties, which include Tana Delta, Galedetu, Bura, Bangale, and Tana River.
Tuko hapa tu ku flag off hii chakula iweze kufikia ambao wameathirika. Ifike hapo kesho tunawauliza walio katika sub-counties wahakikisha hii chakula imegawanywa na imepewa wananchi ili iweze kuwa yenye manufaa.
According to Sankei, each sub-county will get 400 bags of rice and 160 bags of beans, as water tracking is also ongoing and livestock pellets are distributed by other organizations.
Hiyo ni mwanzo tu. Serikali imehakikisha kwamba itakuja mara kwa mara. Na mambo ya water tracking kama vile mmeelezewa, hiyo pia inaendelea. Chakula cha ng'ombe na mbuzi za mifugo, that is, nayo itaendelea kusambazwa.
County Women Representative Amina Dika further said that she is looking for long-term interventions for the drought crisis through partnership with non-governmental organizations.
Tunataka kutafuta kama viongozi long-term goal yetu, especially kwa upande wa maji, kutafuta boreholes, kuzieka machines nzuri ambao itasaidia watu kupump maji, pia kuhakikisha kama sahi upande wa Waldena, Kalalani tuko na changamoto kubwa sana kwa sababu mifugo yetu imetoka na ikaenda kaunti jirani, na tumeona wabunge wale wako kule wameshirikiana, na kidogo hatukufurahia ya kuwa kidogo kama viongozi tungekaa pamoja tujadiliane tuone vile tungesuluhisha hiyo maneno.
Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, as the country grapples with drought due to the effects of climate change, a group of youth living adjacent to Masai Mara Forest in Narok County have put up a tree nursery bed to mitigate climate change. As Gloria Musimbi now reports, the group of 10 young men led by Josephat Koech started the tree nursery bed in 2019 after the government evicted people from the Masai Mara Forest.
Over 700,000 seedlings of indigenous species, 500,000 seedlings of exotic species, and over 10,000 seedlings of different fruit trees have been planted by a group of youths residing along the Masai Mara Forest in Narok County. Josephat Koech, the lead group member, says the idea to put up a tree nursery bed was born after he saw the massive destruction of the forest and the environment, hence affecting the climate.
Vile tulianza nursery ama sababu ile tuanze nursery ni ya kwamba vile tu tuliona miti zikikatwa huko Mao. Tulikuwa tunaelewa ya kwamba miti mingi zikikatwa na tusipopata mbegu za hizo miti zilikatwa hatutakuja kupata mbegu zingine. Sasa tukaamua tu settle that hiyo nursery ili zile miti ambazo ilikatwa sikaramia ile na tulipanda huko kwa nursery.
The move follows a court ruling that saw Mao Forest evictees given 90 days to leave their residential homes, saying the forest should be protected from human encroachment. Over 40,000 evictees had moved to court to sue state over what they termed as illegal and forceful evictions from their farms in the Mao Forest in 2018 and 2019. However, an evictee from the forest, Josephat Ngeno, has asked the residents to respect the court decision and instead plant trees in their homesteads to increase the forest cover.
I think we have enough land kwa hii Kenya ambayo inaweza kuwa utilized kupanda chakula na kadhalika kuliko kuingia kule msituni.
Na tumeweza kuangalia pia kijana moja hapa ambaye anaitwa Josephat Koech ambaye amefanya kazi ya kutengeneza tree nursery ambaye imefaulu sana, na mimi nimecommit kwamba tutatuma officers wetu wa forestry wakuje wamsaidie wampatie further guide ambaye itamwezesha akue afikie ile kiwango ya kuwa mkulima mzuri kwa mambo ya tree nursery.
According to the Narok Chief for Environment, Obadia Rono, officers from the Kenya Forest Service KFS will work closely with people who are protecting Mao Forest by giving them all the necessary technical support. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
Much appreciated, Gloria, for that report. Now, that story by Gloria takes us to a first commercial break, but after the break, there's much more lined up for you, including a special feature produced by very own Dickens Luvanda on indigenous. See you after this short.
The RAF is in Nairobi. The RAF is a chance to showcase your talent in music, dance, poetry, acrobatics, and many more, and stand a chance to win 500,000 Kenyan shillings, a recording deal at Hope Studios, and many more prizes. The RAF is a space for talented youth between the ages of 18 and 24 years. Auditions in Nairobi will be held on Thursday, 26th October 2022 at Situm Valley Road in Dennis White Hall from 8 a.m. To register, send an SMS starting with #TheRAF, your name, county, and talent to 22232 to get an invite to the auditions happening near you. For more information, please call 0709-861-223. Remember to carry a copy of your national ID to the auditions. The RAF, identifying talent, inspiring passion.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. You're watching Hope TV Newswatch. Now, traditional foods are highly nutritious, though they have been forgotten due to a number of reasons, including climate change, modern technology, and high rates of rural-urban migration as the youth seek to find white-collar jobs instead of farming in their homes and contributing to the national food basket. In our special feature tonight on indigenous seeds, experts in indigenous foods and seeds indicate that some of these foods are not grown naturally, hence pose a risk due to the chemicals used to observe those foods. This feature has been produced by Dickens Luvanda and voiced by Daisy Love.
There is a need to take care of our seeds for the betterment of our health, culture, and environment.
You want to move from being a peasant farmer to producing what is modern in the society so that you can be able to rid yourself of that name.
Tunajua vizuri hizi chakula zinakuzwa kikemikali, sio vizuri kwa afya yetu.
Traditional foods are highly nutritious, though they have been forgotten due to a number of reasons, including climate change, modern technology, and high rates of rural-urban migration as the youth seek to find white-collar jobs instead of farming in their homes and contributing to the national food basket. Urban dwellers no longer eat traditional foods and instead eat processed foods that lower their immunity, expose them to health-related diseases and complications due to chemicals used to preserve and ripen them for faster production. Experts in indigenous foods and seeds indicate that some of these foods are not grown naturally, hence pose a health risk due to the chemicals used to preserve those foods. At a time where Kenya is plagued by hunger, Kenyans fear being fed genetically modified foods. Stakeholders in organic farming are advocating for the preservation of indigenous seeds and food practices in order to preserve African culture as well as give the farmer freedom to produce their own food. Many of today's women have forgotten how to grow traditional vegetables and will often see them going to the market or grocery to buy vegetables that are produced through new farming practices such as sukuma wiki. This has exposed many families in general to harmful herbicides and pesticides sprayed on those vegetables. Hybrid crops and animal species are very expensive. Many people resort to such foods such as eggs due to their larger size, higher yield, with little concern for their quality. Indigenous foods are a weapon against various diseases including cancer, which is a now common threat all over the world. For centuries, farmers around the world have been able to select and save seeds ahead of time for following seasons. They have been able to pollinate flowers by hand as well as plant a variety of different plant species in the same area for the betterment of their crops.
This is another crop that we have here that do well. This is ginger, or we call it tangawizi in Kiswahili. So this also we train farmers on how to do.
Mbelewele is the Kiswahili word for pollen grains. These are the male reproductive cells found inside the flower and are found on the anther, which is attached to the filament. The pollen grain rubs or drops onto a pollinator, which then takes this pollen to another flower. The pollen sticks to the stigma, the female part initiating fertilization. Once pollinated, from the fertilized flower emerges a fruit carrying the seed or seeds of the plant. Some plants have pollen that are light and small, which are pollinated by wind, while others are larger and sticky, as they are pollinated by insects and birds. Stakeholders associated with the preservation of indigenous seeds, foods, as well as environmental conservation are calling for action by the government of President William Ruto to return the ban on the production and use of genetically modified foods. On October 3rd, in a meeting with the cabinet of the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, President Ruto approved the use of GMO foods after a 10-year ban, citing that GMO foods would reduce the severity of hunger, especially in the areas that the drought has hit the most. It is as a result of this announcement that stakeholders associated with the preservation of indigenous foods held an Indigenous Seeds and Food Culture Harvest Fair at the National Museums of Kenya in Nairobi from 12th October up to 14th October 2022 that showcased the contribution of indigenous seeds to food and nutrition security, culture, health, and environmental conservation.
The importance of this function, the fact that, in the occasion of World Food Day, the civil society organizations who are working around food sovereignty and security, and also conservation of biodiversity and environment, because food for Africans is not something like only for consumption. It's all about also social relation, empowerment, especially for women, and also knowledge to practice, and something to also to transfer to the young generation.
Indigenous species have proven to be resilient, resisting various pests and diseases, thriving in saline environments as well as parched soils. Some plants are known to be harvested early or late in the season, with some giving fruits and seeds that can be cooked easily. With this method, farmers have been able to maintain a plant diversity that coexists in harmony with the environment, as explained by Ferdinand Wafula, a member of the Biogardening Innovations Organization from Western Kenya.
Kuna tofauti kati ya mimea tofauti ambayo wakulima wanapanda, na tunafanya ile tunaita ecological restoration. Tunapanda hii mimea kwa ile njia ya ekolojia, yani ile njia za kiasili. Na njia za kiasili zinasaidia mimea ambayo tunapanda yote iweze kustahimili hali ambapo mali imepandwa. Kwa Kiingereza tunasema adaptation. Yani hii mimea imekuzwa kwa muda mrefu mpaka imepata uzoefu wa mazingira ambayo imemea. Na jambo muhimu sana na hiyo adaptation ni kuwa tunahimiza wakulima kuweza kupanda kwa njia za kiasili, kutumia zile pembejeo za kiasili. Hizi mahindi ziko na attributes tofauti. Kuna mahindi hapa ambayo ina taste tofauti, kama hii nyekundu ina taste tofauti na hii. Na hii ina taste tofauti na ile ya yellow. Na zinakuwa na muda kama wa miezi 2.5, halafu zimekuwa tayari. Halafu tena wakati tuna compare na ile adaptation ya sehemu ya kule, wakulima wamependa kutumia kwa sababu tofauti. Kwa sababu utaona wakati tunakuwa na mvua kidogo, wakipanda hizi mahindi wanaweza kuvuna na waweze kupata kula hata kabla haijaweza kukauka. Kwa hivyo itawasaidia kuweza kustahimili makali ya njaa.
Organic farming is eco-friendly and results in produce that are beneficial to the farmer and the environment. Conservation of seeds and production of indigenous plants is very important in organic farming. Therefore, a farmer must look for plant species that are high-yielding and friendly to the rest of the biodiversity in the area. An indigenous seeds activist at Greenpeace Africa says embracing GMO foods will destroy indigenous seed variety, thus killing the freedom of a farmer to produce indigenous foods.
Formal seed systems ni zile ambazo wakulima wananunua mbegu kwa maduka ya agrovet. Informal seed systems ni ile ambao mkulima akiwa amepanda mbegu na ana surplus ama nyingi, anaenda anauza sokoni, anauzia wenzake, wananunua ama wanabadilishana. So tuna mbegu, na hizi mbegu ambazo wakulima wanatumia sana from the informal seed systems zinapanda chakula 75 to 90%. Ndo zinatumika 75 to 90%. So hiyo inaonyesha kwamba hatuna shida ya mbegu, ndo tuweze kukimbilia mbegu kama vile GMOs. Na pia hawa watu ambao ni proponents of GMOs wanasema kwamba hizi mbegu za GMOs ni drought resistant, ni high yielding. Na kusema kweli, vile ambavyo nime-explain what GMO is about, ni zile gene ama vile vinasaba kutoka kwa one organism to another, vimefanya nini? Vimechanganywa. And the main aim ya GMO ni BT maize, ni resist pest. Ndio maana waneka hiyo bacteria, hiyo BT, kwa hiyo mahindi, to resist the pest.
One must wonder, why is the conservation of indigenous plants this important? Well, plants produced organically do better in their native environment than those that are exotic. Ensuring plant diversity helps in maintaining plant loss. For example, if there is an outbreak of new pests or diseases, or maybe the weather conditions in that area change. Exotic plants often bear the brunt of these changes. So what do indigenous farmers do? They identify certain beneficial traits in a plant species to them or the whole community. Farmers plant trees, hence promoting agroforestry, and through seed preservation for the next season from the current harvest, farmers may not need to buy seeds every year. But what happens when multinational seed companies own the rights to a GMO crop? It forces farmers to abandon their previously stored seeds, forcing them to buy new ones from these companies every year. If a farmer does not wish to plant GMO crops, he is at risk from contamination from his neighbors who have chosen to plant GMO crops, as these plants cross-pollinate from one farm to another unintentionally or intentionally. And if it is the latter, he or she may be found by company officials of GMO seed distribution and would face heavy fines. According to GMO critics, this situation gives big seed companies greater control over the country's food basket and could exploit farmers.
Wakulima wetu nchini Kenya wanafahamu kwamba ukipanda GMO hapa na mwingine pale, kuna hiyo cross pollination. Hawa inspector wa hizi companies wakija kuangalia wapate umepanda GMO. Wewe kwa akili yako ulikuwa unajua umepanda mahindi ya kiasili ya kawaida. Lakini pollination happen because jirani yako amepanda. Wakija au inspectors wakuje kuangalia mashamba wapate umepanda yale mahindi yao ya GMO. Wewe kama mkulima unaweza kupeleka kotini kwa sababu ya patent rights. Umepanda mahindi ya wenyewe na hukununua mahali ambapo panastahili. Na hilo ndo jambo tunafaa kuzungumzia zaidi kama Wakenya kuhusu hizi mbegu za GMOs. Kwa sababu wakulima wengi hawafahamu, wanadhani tu kwamba haya mahindi ni bora, mimi nitapanda na nitakuwa sawa. Lakini kuna issue of patent rights. Na tukiangalia sheria zetu, hata the National Biosafety Authority na Biosafety Act of 2009, hatuna ile concrete, ile sheria ambayo ina protect huyu mkulima kutokana na hizi patent rights kutokana na haya mashirika ambayo yanamiliki hizi mbegu za GMO. Na hilo ndo jambo ambalo tungependa before hata hii marafuku iliyokuwepo kwa hizi mbegu za GMO, serikali ingeangalia vitu kama hivyo kwanza. Kwa sababu si vizuri kuintroduce GMOs in our country, ujiangalia mambo ya patent rights. Itaathiri vipi mkulima ambaye hataki kupanda hizi GMOs na jirani yake amepanda.
Kenya faces the worst drought in 40 years, leaving millions of Kenyans starving in 23 countries and are in desperate need of urgent food and water. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, has warned that approximately 36.1 million people in the Horn of Africa, including 24.1 million in Ethiopia, 7.8 million in Somalia, and 4.2 million in Kenya, will be affected by severe drought in October this year. The number is predicted to further increase. However, Indigenous food stakeholders are opposed to feeding drought victims GMO foods, as this is a short-term approach that will not solve the problem of chronic hunger and drought in this country. They say there is need for the victims to be trained about the importance of embracing the cultivation of indigenous foods that are able to withstand extreme weather conditions in arid areas.
So it's about sovereignty, not all about just the current food consumption. So want government to really look into this. And in fact, with our food, in fact, the source is diverse seeds, not only limited number of seeds in terms of nutrition, in terms of adaptability of the changing climate.
Genesis chapter 43, we know what happened to Isaac and his children when they didn't have any food. They volunteered to be slaves, and they went when Joseph was actually the prime minister in Egypt. So based on that, they volunteered themselves to be slaves. So that is what is going to happen if we don't conserve our indigenous seeds as a country and protect them. One danger, of course, technology is something that is coming and we have to. But you know, your freedom ends where it infringes on my rights as an individual. GMOs are bound to interfere with our indigenous seeds. They are bound to contaminate them. After that, we will be sued for using patented seeds, and therefore there must be controls before we can be able to embrace them.
In addition, scientists who support GMOs, such as the Kenya University Biotechnology and Biosafety Consortium, say genetically modified foods have not been introduced to destroy indigenous foods in the country, but to increase food production for the benefit of the people.
We as experts would want to clarify that GM technology is not a panacea. It's not the only option available in sorting out our food security situation. It is a complementary technology to all the others that exist. We have had many other traditional methods, but we note that there's persistent hunger in the country, and therefore we would want that technology to complement the other ones in a bid to bring down the cost of living and to enhance food availability.
Health experts claim that the move by President William Ruto's government to introduce genetically modified plants as a way to help increase yields is not a solution, as there are subsequent health effects that may not have been discovered by health practitioners. Although many experts support GMO technology, some critics say that scientists may be too afraid to challenge the majority and publish studies against these modified foods because their credentials and authority will be criticized, leading to a cut in funding for their research. In addition to the health effects that have not been confirmed by health experts, the act of producing genetically engineered foods gives multinational companies greater control over agriculture and the ability to exploit farmers, thus limiting the access to indigenous foods and seed varieties.
Indigenous knowledge is proving important in the country's fight against climate change, and that is why we should preserve and plant our indigenous food species. The farmers today say slow is the way to go. So in a microwave generation, we tend to want our plants and our foods grown fast and even prepared faster. And that's not the way to go. I am Daisy Love reporting for Hope TV Newswatch.
Quite an informative feature right there. Now let's shift gears to some international news. And former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak has won the battle for the leadership of the Britain's Conservative Party and will become the country's first Prime Minister of colour. In his first public remarks since winning the Conservative Party leadership race on Monday, Sunak vowed to serve as Prime Minister with integrity and humility, at the same time paying tribute to outgoing British leader Liz Truss for her dignified leadership under difficult circumstances abroad and at home.
As returning officer in the leadership election, I can confirm
that we have received one valid nomination. And Rishi Sunak is therefore elected as leader of the Conservative Party.
I'd like to pay tribute to Liz Truss for her dedicated public service to the country. She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change and under exceptionally difficult circumstances, both at home and abroad. I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to.
Fun fact about Rishi Sunak is that his father was actually born and raised in Kenya and his mother was born in Tanzania. Well, let's now have our international outlook by very own Michelle Macau.
Former South African President Jacob Zuma has accused his successor Cyril Ramaphosa of corruption and treason following a cash haste scandal at his farm. The divisive politician's accusations came months before the ruling ANC party year-end conference, where Ramaphosa is expected to seek a second term. It is alleged that Ramaphosa concealed a multi-million-dollar cash haste as his luxury farmhouse.
Conducted private business while holding the high office of president is nothing but corruption, which is inconsistent with the nature of that office and the Constitution itself.
After a weekend of heavy rains, authorities have warned about a wild weather system that could persist and trigger renewed riverbank bursts. Thousands of homes and farms of New South Wales and Victoria, Australia's two most popular states, inundated, and 5 people in the country lost their lives as the flooding crisis enters the third week. About 200 flood warnings remained in place in both states, with 132 of those in New South Wales.
Into Tuesday, as the system moves further south and the system from the west moves across to the east, we will see showers and possible severe storms across parts of eastern Australia, eastern New South Wales. The focus, though, will be on the south coast.
Michelle Macau, Hope TV Newswatch.
Ensuring good health and promoting well-being of all people is important in building a prosperous society. On Health Check, you get informed and empowered on various medical conditions, their treatment and preventive measures.
When you ignore gum disease, then the same tooth will start to appear slightly longer.
You also get your health question answered live by our doctors in studio.
The medication she's receiving is for the nostrils. This child should be feeding enough to gain weight.
And you do a little bit of exercise. It even helps with the breast milk.
If you feel like you have an instinct that things aren't quite where they should be for your child, the onus is on you to seek an evaluation.
This is to help you make best choices about your health and your well-being. Stay tuned for brand new episodes of Health Check with me, Grace Mutiso, every Tuesday on Hope TV. Look and live.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Now to some business news. And the Family Group Foundation and the USAID Tumikia Mtoto project implemented by the World Vision Kenya has today held a graduation ceremony for 100 Dreams young women, bringing the total number of impacted under this partnership to nearly 300 women trained and certified in plumbing, electrical and painting skills. The 30 million shillings partnership is aimed at enhancing the employability, income and livelihoods of the vulnerable young women within the Dreams program aged 18 to 24 from Nairobi and Kiambu counties, while boosting their technical skill set.
Through this USAID Tumika Mtoto program, a partnership with World Vision, USAID and Family Group Foundation, as you have heard, we have trained nearly 400 girls through a Kenya shillings 30 million investment in technical skills such as construction, plumbing, and painting. Our chief guest, I'm delighted to note that 80% of these young women and girls have transitioned into internships and decent work in a sector that was previously male-dominated. This is an all-inclusive program. We are not only providing technical and vocational skills, we are also providing reproductive health information, services, financial planning, so that our focus can be an overall improvement of the livelihoods of these young ladies you see to get here today, their families, and future generations.
Young girls and women in Kenya hold unlimited potential. They constitute more than half of the population, of the productive population, and can make major contributions towards Kenya's development. This skills training program is an excellent example of one of those economic power empowerment initiatives under DREAMS that aims at providing critical financial income to young women. Such programs as these not only build foundational skills, but also transferable skills such as self-confidence, communication, and decision-making.
And to some sporting action now, and Kenya's Kibiwot Kandiye reclaimed the Valencia half marathon title on Sunday as he claimed the title with an imperious run, clocking 58 minutes and 9 seconds. Kandiye won the title in 2020, clocking a new world record time of 57 minutes and 32 seconds, though the mark was later lowered by Uganda's Jacob Kiplimo, who ran a second lower last year. And finally, the Kenya Institute of Bankers Interbank Sports Competition has officially kicked off at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies, with KCB Bank making a stronger intent to cause major upsets over its competitors when the tug-of-war team overpowered an energized CBK side during the opening ceremony. KCB has 19 teams participating in this competition, which has attracted over 5,000 participants who are competing in various sports disciplines, including golf, football, volleyball, drought, darts, netball, handball, and basketball, among others. The competition ends on the 29th of October, when winners will be awarded in each of the categories.
As I said, we are only here for one reason, just to win. And my team is ready. You know, they've practiced. We've done a lot of, exercises with the team. We've given them the mental strength. We've given them the support that they need. And they're very excited. And we are only here to win this particular competition. And I believe that KCB will come out tops in this event.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the sports news and the news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Hope TV Newswatch. On behalf of the whole crew that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a good night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and at the bottom right of your screen has been the very able sign language interpreter Boniface Murithi.